What's up, everybody? Welcome to too high. Oh no, that's it. Welcome to Too High, a podcast about the summit. My name is Memmott. I'm your host. I'm here with Ohmar Gibson Jr. What's up, Ohmar?
What's going on, man? Not
What's
much. Ready
up?
to get into this episode. Obviously, we are already too high to get through the intro. So.
Whoops! It's just to give everybody a time and place. It is Monday at 2:44 p.m. as we're recording this. We're working on a better schedule. We're hoping to get it out closer to when it airs. Just our wonderful producer Bobby has a lot on his plate right now, and we're new, so we kind of get pushed down, but that's okay. But we're recording it now. That's why we're not, whatever. Who cares? Edit all that out. Actually, Bobby, leave it in.
Right.
Who cares? We're too
No,
high.
yeah, y'all gonna get it when y'all get it. It's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, we're here talking about the show The Summit on Paramount Plus CBS. It's a show, as we've called, Amazing Race but hard, I guess. Amazing Race with survivors. It's a bunch of normo people walking up a mountain. They got to do some challenges. There's some strategy along the way, and I think as we're going along, more and more people realize, oh, this is a game. This isn't a ropes course at a summer camp. This is like a real game.
Indeed.
So we're here,
Especially
but before we do
episode.
that, especially this episode, but we'll get into it. We are here on the Reality After Show Network. The best way you can support this network, we do a lot of podcasts. Our main ones are about Survivor. We have Jonny Fairplay and Matt Bischoff doing that one. I join that one on Survivor on Wednesdays. Matt and Jonny do the patron episode on our Reality After Show Patreon. We also got Kelly Wentworth talking about Survivor. We've got two Big Brother podcasts that are now on break because Big Brother's over. We've got two challenge podcasts. We've got a lot. We've got an anonymous podcast, a GOAT podcast. Oh, House of Villains season 2 is out.
Oh, good.
It's so good. Johnny's recapping that with Jen Hoffman. So many podcasts. So follow us, like us. And the best part about the Patreon, it's my favorite part, is all of our podcasts are ad-free. So you can just give us $5 a month if you listen to a couple of our podcasts, and you get them all ad-free, or $7, whatever it is. If you hate it, Johnny will send you your money back. Whew.
Got through that real good.
All right. Well, so I guess we could get into it. This is our second episode of the podcast, but the third episode of the show. We did episodes 1 and 2 together. And so this is our second episode. We are flying in. We're in a mountain. We're in New Zealand. We've got Deathstroke there guiding us on our journey. There are 12 players remaining, and they said $870,536 left.
Oh man, that is a nice little drop from $1 million already, but
that ain't $1 million. We've had a couple people quit and cut out. We talked about Bo getting cut out, and I'm not a big fan of forced removal from the game, but we didn't get any of that this game. We lost Shweta at the camp. I think that was. We spend the first part of this episode kind of learning about how that was kind of the first move of the game.
Mm-hmm. With Becky Lee basically saying that this is actually her move, which in the last episode it kind of made it seem like it was more so what was it Dennis that kind of pitched Shweta? Then they start talking. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah. Yes,
I feel like it was Dennis that pitched Shweta initially in the second episode. So,
but I think Becky Lee's probably going to. I think she's going to take a lot of ownership a lot of this game. I think she thinks she's the only person out there that's ever watched a competition reality show, and that might be true. She might be. I think her and Dennis are the only people that are like, no, we're playing. I was
just about to say that. Her and Dennis definitely watched some Survivor. Probably wanted to be on Survivor. I would actually want to see them on Survivor. But they were playing hard. And it kind of paid off.
My theory about Dennis is that he went out for Survivor back when they were in their no villain era. And they're like, no, this guy's a sociopath. We can't put him on Survivor. Now that they're allowing weird villains and stuff like that in Survivor, I think he might actually be fun to watch on that show.
Yeah.
But I liked Dennis said about Shweta that mean things come in tiny packages. And I said, I bet that Dennis knows about tiny packages.
I did not expect that to be where that was going to go, but I don't know
I'll just
why I
take
didn't
this
know.
moment.
I should have.
I'll just take
It
this
was
moment to
right
say
there.
that we make fun of everybody on this show. We love everybody. Jokes are jokes. And
Yes.
if you want to come on the show and defend your package size, be our guest. It'll get our viewership through the roof. We
Yes,
won't
yes, it will.
monetize that episode. That episode won't be monetized or put on YouTube. All right, we'll talk about it later. Dennis, get at us.
Speaking of Dennis getting at us,
Yeah.
did you see that he was like one of the only people who commented on that reel of us talking about the bad bots?
Yep. Yeah. Yes.
I thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Shout out Dennis. Hey,
yes, I want to see if you are a good vibe in person. So I would like to see that.
I bet he's a good vibe. I'll bet he is a good vibe. I don't know, but we
You just can't trust if it's real now after this episode. That's all.
This episode makes me question. All right, let's see. So we get into we talked about Becky Lee. She's definitely in control of the numbers. She's definitely running this game. We kind of see that there's this Becky Lee Dennis side of camp, and what we think is a maybe equally side Jeff Punkin side of camp. You know, it's kind of these two. They're not warring yet, but they're like, okay, we're gonna have to get each other out. Like for whatever reason.
Yeah, like the line ain't in the sand, but they definitely in their groups already.
Yep. And then this is what have Jeff and Dennis start talking, and Dennis promises, he says, I won't vote out Jeff. And that's when to me, I was like, oh, Jeff is going to go home. And then the next thing was Amy talking about how Jeff snores. And I was like, oh, Jeff's definitely going home. This is day 3. And they're like, I ain't sleeping when those snore. Get out of my tent. I don't care. I don't care. I'll make you quit. I am not doing that again. That is more important than food.
I 100% thought that was going to be more of a factor than it was, but that would be a reason for me to want to vote somebody else too. Although I'm pretty sure I've been told I snore too, so
I snore when I'm drunk and got a cold. But I'm thankful. Luckily, I don't really snore that much. Thankfully. It's like my greatest fear. I actually get real anxiety when my wife wakes up. She's like, "You were snoring last time." I'm like, "Oh no, do I have sleep apnea?" I don't want to wear a mask.
Oh shit.
Becky Lee, in continuing to run the camp, I see there's a thing I point out where she talks to Nick, and they're talking about like how all the dudes are being perceived as like being together, and she's like, "Don't be a dude. Like, don't be with them. They're going to be the first group of people." Like, she's already formulating, when we've got enough, we're going to cut all these people. But Nick, you're going to be around to help us get up this mountain because we got to pull Patty to the top.
Right. Which I don't know. Again, like kind of going back to what we said the first episode, I don't know if that makes the most sense because they are on a time crunch to get to the top of the mountain. So is that really the smart move to... I feel like there's people in the middle you can still go after first before you get those stronger people out, to where you can kind of you let them use their energy to get those people up the mountain a little more if you want to cut them out. But I don't necessarily like this strategy at all.
I also don't. I'll just say that there are producers behind the show, so I don't know if there's necessarily, when they're down there, that real feeling of like, oh, we might not make it up. I think they're assuming people are going to make it up the mountain. Like, if we just keep walking, they're not going to have this show with all these people climbing all the way up, and then they're an hour behind and they don't get to the top of the mountain. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You kind of feel like, oh, I just got to get through. Like, I'm not worried about getting to the top. We'll get to the top, like, unless we just like don't go, but that's not going to happen.
Right. At least you hope not.
At least you hope not. That'd be, honestly, I would love that show if they're like, all right, you guys got 5 hours to get to the top of the mountain and it takes them 6 and nobody gets any money. I would love it if they got to the end of the show and nobody won. I would be like, all right, I'm in on this show at least 5 more seasons. If you're willing to do that on the first season, I'm in. I'm totally in.
100%. Crush your dreams immediately.
Yeah. So they like this show. There's like pockets of strategy, and then there's like 10 to 15 minutes of the same thing happening. It makes
Walking up a mountain.
It makes it
and
easy
stumbling
to
up a
talk
mountain.
about. They walk up a mountain. They're too tired to talk. They're not strategizing. They're just getting up what Amy calls a 50-degree incline.
Which is
It's under 45. It's I'll bet it's under 45, but it's tough. It's uphill. They're all leaning on sticks, rowing themselves up the hill, just kind of.
at one point Jeannie breaks hers, and I thought that was funny, but yeah, I could say.
Yeah, Jeannie's like, this shit's hard. This is not easy. This is not easy. I liked it. Amy Amy looks up at Robert one time up the hill and she goes, "Hey Robert, is this the way?" And he goes, up? Yeah.
I'm so glad you caught that too. I was like, bro, that was so fucking hilarious. Because literally, where else are we going but up at this point?
Oh no, we're supposed to turn left at this bush. And
like, what? Oh my god!
Yeah.
But she got her wish. Well, I think she was hoping for some saving because we get the mountains keeper, or as I keep calling the quartermaster.
The quartermaster, the mountains keeper, the black helicopter looms around, comes down, and it's got a bag, and it just drops it at the bottom of the hill, which is like, oh no. So it's not exactly clear, but I think it was dropped back down at the bottom where they came from. And then 3 people walk back down the hill and walk back up while they wait there. It's like, so were those slow people slowing you down that much? Because like, if that's the case, then it's like, all right, I could see cutting slow people. Because like, if those 3 people could just jet down, grab that bag, and come right back up, it's like, all right. So it's not.
It kind of gives some credence to what Jeff was saying when they was making the whole vote about the food and whatnot. About like, hey, it don't say that it's not impossible. It just say at this pace, so that just means we got to pick it up.
Right, and we do that. And we like don't get the scope of this hill, that like all of it's close up. We don't get the scope of how big this like portion of the trek they're going up. So when they drop the bag, it's like, oh, did we just get like 10 minutes of editing around like a 15-minute walk up a hill that they're like, hey, everybody act real hard. Oh, it's so hard, or whatever.
Right. Like you even get a confessional from therapy, like they dropped it like 99 miles down the hill. And I'm like, is it really that hard? So and even Becky Lynch loses. All right, Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch. Look, my man.
I said Becky Licious.
Becky. She could be that.
What's
too.
up, Becky? Becky Licious. You got a new nickname. I think you're going to stick around long enough.
Yeah, I mean, hey, definitely. I mean, she used this as an opportunity to like strategize, which is interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, she organizes her and Rob and Nick, again showing how she's aligned with this Nick guy. And Rob, I think, is just whatever this show's GOAT is going to be. He's the perfect, like right in the middle, not going to probably get voted off.
Although I thought it was interesting that they when she had that talk with Nick earlier at the camp, when she was saying something about the strong guys, they gave like shots of like Jeff, Dusty, and then they gave a shot of Rob too, and I was like, do they view him as one of the strong guys out here? And maybe. If so, we'll get to that when we get to what happens.
Yep. But yeah, they run down, they grab the bag. They come up and they're like, hey, 2 people get a helicopter ride and you don't get food tonight at camp, which we don't know yet if it's the Bibby camp or if it's like a full-in checkpoint camp, but we find out later it's a Bibby camp. So assuming when they have those little camps, there's still food that the producers put out for them. So they're not carrying any food with them. They don't pack any food. So really they're just carrying money and maybe some clothing items and sleeping bag.
Yeah, I saw they had like different changes of not some of them. I'm pretty sure they all had different pair of shoes, like also on there.
Shoes, clothes, it's all personal items, but the tents are all set up for them. Probably their little bivvy tent they have to carry too. But then Jeff is basically like, nah, dude, I want food, and pumpkins right there with them. And they get voted out. They get outvoted. They want to send Patty and Amy. They're like, okay, they're giving us this chance. We should do it. It was a smart move, I think, because they said it was really, really hard. It looked difficult. And Amy was rightfully so, like, kind of like, well, does this mean I'm going to be voted out? Because, like, she doesn't know if, like, and rightfully so, the game could just force her out, where it's like,
Yeah.
hey, they saved Bo, and then the next time they were forced to cut Bo out. So it's like, hey, save me. But then, like, the next time they're like, well, you could have not saved them, made them quit. Now you have to cut Patty and Amy out or whatever. And so the game was established.
Or like she said, that they could have just made them be like, hey, these are the two y'all got to choose between when it comes to the vote,
right,
which
right,
would have sucked.
Right. You save these two, but you can't save both of them forever. You got to cut one or whatever. But everyone kind of convinces them they're not in danger, and they vote them to get a nice little scenic ride up to the top, and they're up there for a couple hours.
Who knows? I know Patty wasn't feeling it, which I like. This episode made me like Patty even more. Like I hope she can make. I want to see her make it to the top after this episode. Actually,
yeah. They could have like walked around. I don't know if they like looked to see like where, if there's maybe edible stuff around, food they, something that they could like do. I guess they probably don't really have any like survival supplies. I'll bet production came up.
I bet like other than Rob, nobody would actually be able to like say, "Hey, this is edible over here."
Right.
Like, oh, we might be able to find this here. So
right, and production probably came up and was like, "Here's some wood for your fire," because it looked like wood you'd get at a Maristop on the way to a buddy's house or whatever. Like it came freshly cut.
They didn't chop that. They did not chop. They did not have an axe. They did not do no work for that. So
So let's see. All I noticed, they get their biddy camp. They're at the Bibby camp tonight. So they're all sitting around. They have no food. They have nothing to do. So they just start talking, and they all take their shoes and socks off. And all I noticed is that all of their feet are busted as hell. Dude, more bandages than skin at this point in time. And I'm like, oh shit. Like,
this is real. Like, if you had any like doubts, like look at it. Like, those is real. Like, you don't get those. Well, I mean, they could fake some shit, but they ain't gonna fake it to that extreme. That is terrible. No. I wouldn't want to do that.
No, regardless, like they're still walking, I'm gonna guess 3 to 7 miles a day, depending on the terrain. Because that's like a lot, but not impossible for anybody to do in a day. So that would be my
like rocks and mud and all of that. Like, that's just I
know.
It's Jonny Fairplay, reality TV icon, Survivor Hall of Famer, and I'm talking today about Work Money. Work Money is a non-profit organization that focuses on lowering costs and raising incomes for all Americans to make American life more affordable and American families more economically secure. They provide products, services, perks, benefits, tips, and tools to help members improve their financial lives. It's time to level up and make more money in this economy. We're talking getting rich. Now, this sweepstakes is giving away $50,000. You can use this to pay your rent, your mortgage. Imagine what you can do with all the money that you'll save. Now, this is put on by Work Money, and this site has all these sick benefits, and it's free. Go sign up right now and get more rich. Now, listen, you can change your life. Now, what would you do if you didn't have to pay your rent or mortgage for a year? Listen, sign up right now for free. Link is available right here in the show notes. Check them out. Personally, I'd get more pinball machines. I'm Jonny Fairplay. I wouldn't lie about that. It's Work Money. More money.
Then we get three little bios on these people. It's kind of like campfire stories. So we get a couple campfire story, but at the end of the day, like none of these matter to this episode, it's like, oh, why are we hearing about them? It doesn't really matter. Any of them do you want to take any of them? Do you want to talk about any of them?
Not really that much. Like, I mean, cat ears makes a lot more sense now that we find out she's a crazy cat lady. Okay.
Dude, Jenny's sick. Jenny's one of those women where it's like, if you're friends with her at the bar, if you're both regulars at the bar, Jenny's probably your best friend. Like you love seeing Jenny every time you see her, but on TV it's like, whoa.
Oh, you're alive. Oh, you're alive.
you,
And I mean, that's also protection at the bar too. You see, she got her meow ties. She calls it. So
yeah, meow
that's cool. I would
tie.
love to hang out with Jenny.
Yeah, I'll take meow
And then
tie.
we get Becky Lee's, who I mean, it kind of makes sense, like how her whole like attitude when she gets her whole being like construction worker and all of that. So
Yeah,
I
my dad was in construction, and it is like there's not tons of women, and so it's like it is a good old
same
boys
way. We have
club.
a lot in
Yeah,
common.
we do have a lot in common. But it is a good old boys club, you know? It's like where that locker room talk comes from. And I would imagine it's like very difficult to be a woman in that industry, especially, and she's a project manager, which her job is like at the job site, making sure all of the projects are managed. And that's like a very difficult job.
And just the way she looks, you can see some guys who probably have that type of ego probably would give her a lot of shit.
Oh yeah,
so.
yeah. She's a fit person. You know, she's an attractive, fit person. Listen. I don't like to comment on people's bodies, but I know, you know, whatever. So
no, I just mean like how like small she is, like just like that too. Like so, they'll probably just like, man, who is this? I ain't taking it.
Yep. Yeah, it was just
And then we find out Dennis is a sociopath. So this is.
Before that, we found out that Robert is exactly who we thought Robert was. He is Mr. I know exactly what kind of teacher he is. I was a teacher for 7 years. I know exactly the type of teacher he is because I'm that kind of teacher. You know, like there's a lot that Rob and I had in common. But yeah, it's anyway.
I resonated with his whole story.
I like Rob and then Dennis.
I was about to say, like, with his whole, he's a theater kid, and, like, his dad wanted this kind of kid, but got this kind of kid. I resonated with that a lot. But I do, so I liked Rob a little more that much. But, like, he could go next episode or the one after still. But.
Yeah, I don't think Rob's going to be around for a long time, but I think he'll be around for a good time. You know, he's going to be one of those kind of forgettable gods. He's a nice guy. I like him a lot. Again, honestly, he's the type of nerd I'd like to see on Survivor. But he's probably perfect for Big Brother. And then, as you said, I wrote down those exact words. Dennis is a sociopath.
I mean, bro, did you buy his acting performance? Was it?
Yes, I did. I legitimately was like, oh man, he's busted up. Like, I could make myself cry. I wouldn't call it on command, but if I were acting in a scene and the director was like, you need to have real tears, I could think of some stuff that will make me legitimately cry. I cry pretty easily. Dude, he looked like he was in real fucking pain, and it's like, whoa. And meanwhile, his confessional is like, yeah, I can cry on command. I'm just, like, manipulating these people emotionally.
Oh, my God. And Jeff, poor Jeff. You're so nice, Jeff. Poor sweet Jeff just wants to believe it.
Man, I hope he has a partner or this show doesn't get very big or whatever, because it's going to be hard for him to partner up with somebody after like showing what he is capable as a person. And you can always pull it back as like, he also might look worse because he's one of two people actually playing this game, right? Like, so he looks worse, I think, you know, at this, but anyway. So then we get, then they do the challenge, and I just wrote down 25 minutes of ladder stuff. If there's anything you want to highlight, we didn't really get anything.
Just more strategy talk about wanting to get Jeff out.
Right.
That's pretty much it. And the women seem to want to prove themselves, quote unquote, for I guess the guys taking the lead on past challenges. And Amy and Patty specifically, because they got the helicopter ride, wanted to step up and go first and carry the equipment. I thought that was cool. I did slightly wish there was some sort of penalty for falling off the ladder, though.
Yeah, there should have been something. And carrying the equipment, it's like, if I'm one of the guys, it's like, okay, cool, you're like proving it. But if you would get up this ladder normally in 15 minutes, but carrying the equipment, you get up it in 30 minutes. And I could get up it in 5, but carrying the equipment, I get up it in 10. You're actually hurting us by like proving yourself. Let's strap it on Dusty's back and get up this ladder real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, great on them for stepping up, but this isn't a growth. This is getting up the mountain the fastest with the most amount of money in whatever way that means.
Yeah, and at the very, I will say, I did like the confessional moment. While I said, one of the reasons why I said I like Patty a little more this episode was her confessional of fuck, I'm a big strong. What she say? She said, "I'm a big strong bitch or a big confident bitch or something like that." I was like, okay,
and what if the storyline of what they did and all that stuff would have played in real well if they got there and Manu was like, okay, tonight you have to vote one of these two out. Like he made that would have been a good storyline, but I don't want to meddle that much.
Yeah. But other than that, it was pretty much everybody gets up and out. Oh, we found out Jeannie is terrified of ladders. That's about it.
Yep. And Mountain Keeper come up and just took a real creepy stare at Nick. Just right there. And then left. That was it. Nick was halfway up the ladder. He was scared. And there was a helicopter next to him. It looked really close. I'm sure it wasn't that close.
He's also scared of heights. We learned that Nick is one of the old people who's also scared of heights. I guess he held it down in those first two challenges because I didn't know that. But,
so was Theron. Theron's scared of heights.
Another reminder. I would have been helped so much. I would not have made it up that ladder. Would you have made it up that ladder? Do you do well in heights?
I probably would. I don't like heights. I definitely don't. I definitely pause. I'm not the guy that's just like jumping off and like climbing up stuff. And, when I have to like climb a ladder and clean out the gutters, I don't have a tall house. I still get a little nervous and stuff like that. So very safe around heights. Don't really enjoy them. Don't put myself. But I would have made it up because it's like we all have to make it up. They're not. Yeah. Like part of me is like, I'm probably not going to die. Right? They're like the producers have done this. They know I'm not going to die. This is a thing. As long as I just keep going, I probably would have made it up. So, and then we get a map. We got a map. They heard us talking last week. We got a map. We got a whole trek. We see how far they are. I don't care if it's fake. It oriented me. I'm like, oh shit, they got to get moving. Immediately I'm like, come on, guys. We gotta,
Oh, and this is also. It just came to me. I'm doing good by not referring to the notes. Dusty said again. We get like 2 or 3 confessionals of him saying about the slow people in the challenges, in the trek, and all of that. And we see where he votes, which doesn't make sense.
Right. So. Yeah, I think that when we got to the vote, which we're about there. But when we get to the vote, and Dennis and Pumpkin are both like trying to save, or not Dennis, Jeff and Pumpkin are trying to save Jeff and be like, don't just go with everybody. Who do you actually want to vote out? Do you want me around or do you want Dennis around? Like, who do you want around? Yeah, a lot of people don't go the way that I thought they would go.
I did not want to be right about it at all, but I think there was some crucial people that Jeff and Pumpkin probably should have isolated either on the trek or once they got to the camp to really solidify those numbers. Yep. They weren't really playing the game the way that Dennis and Becky and them was playing the game.
Yep. They hit their first snow. They take a little time out. And as soon as I wrote, this is the only time they're going to be happy to see snow, Dusty goes, yeah, it's probably the last time we're going to be happy to see snow. And it's like, man, Dusty knows this game. Dusty knows what's going on. I like him a lot. I'm a big fan of Dusty. I think he's going to be a classic, like, don't judge a book by its cover type person. I'm a real big Dusty guy.
I want to see more of him. I feel like they had him a little more in the edit. Sometimes they just give him confessionals about like how the group is doing, and then that'll be it.
They get up to their camp. Food spread looks incredible. It all set up. It's pasta, it's bread, it's carbs. They're happy. I only wrote that this show would be different if they had to vote before they ate. I think that would be fun if they had to like do it while they're all tired and don't have any food in their belly and irritable. It'd be better TV, But they eat this big meal. They just want to go to bed and they're like, oh yeah, we got to kick somebody out of here. It's like, So,
and I wonder if the food, because Jeff and Puckett specifically wanted the food so bad at that Bibby camp, that if that played into them not strategizing the way they should have once they got to camp. Because they really should have, since we already here, they really should have, Jeff, Pumpkin, and Amy should have isolated Jeannie, Jenny, Dusty, and really grabbed Rob. Like, hey, at the end of the day, if you vote, even if you vote Jeff out now, like you're probably not one of those people in their main numbers when it comes to actually get to the top.
Right.
You probably got a better chance if you come with us.
Right.
Like,
right. They have the alliance. You got to find the people and say, hey, but we're more than them. So let's control this game. That's how the other alliance comes out. Yeah, they didn't really do that. They thought they're like, we got 3, we're good. And it's like, no, sorry.
And then like Amy is trying to get Jeannie by herself, and that's like nobody is really taking to it when they say Dennis. Like, and that's when I kind of knew, I'm like, it's not gonna go the way that I wanted to go.
Yeah, we know.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, we know the confessionals of Dennis. These people don't know that. All they know is this guy that told a sob story when they had no food. They know this like happy-go-lucky guy, probably bringing good energy, helping people up the mountain. He's a goof. He falls down. He's not a top dog. He's not Dusty. He's not a big alpha guy or whatever. They see him in a totally different light than we're seeing him. That's what you have to remember in this. They don't see him in the same light that the show is pointing us. And they probably see Jeff in a worse light than the show is pointing us to, because he was like, fuck these people. I want food tonight, dog. What are you talking about? I'm so hungry.
When they edited that, I'm like, wait, like that's food for everybody, right? Like, it's not just the only ones who gonna get the food. Like, I'm just saying, maybe we can pick up the pace and we all can eat. Like, maybe he should have said that specifically. Like, I don't just want the food for me. Like, this is food for everybody. And all we gotta do is pick up the pace. I believe in you, Patty and Amy. Y'all can do this. We just gotta pick it up, and we gonna get food tonight. And that's gonna make tomorrow easy because we got nourishment and sustenance. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't do all that.
Right. And I get it. They're afraid. They're afraid of like them quitting. I get it.
Especially, or even just them not being able to do it physically because of what happened to Tony. So I kind of did forget that did just happen like 2 days before.
But if they're playing that they're afraid of them quitting, that's why they got them a ride. They were willing to sacrifice food. Then you got to start voting them out because you're afraid you're going to lose their money. Then you got like they're playing the game one day, like you're trying to just deal with these slow people. But then when you have the opportunity, like kick them out and speed up your group and you take their money safely, you don't do it. You kick somebody out that's actually like working to not only move up the mountain, but get all of these people up the mountain. Like he's one of those helpers. And so it's just like, you're really like it's a double negative. You're losing a good one and you're not getting rid of a bad one. And Patty and Amy, you're not bad. I love you both. I actually really like your stories and your characters, and I'm excited to see you on the show. But you are holding them back a lot.
Physically, that is all.
It's a big line. Like, you go Patty, Amy. Who do you think's the slowest after that? I could probably guess it's Jeannie, but the jump is greater. You know, Jeannie probably keeps up pretty well.
Yeah, there was a couple times where you could actually see her in the middle of the group. I don't know if that was because they were slowing down before her, but she was up there. So.
Right. So it's just inconsistent. But people, I think, are now realizing that there is a game. I'm kind of afraid that the next 2 vote outs will now be just like Pumpkin and then Amy and then Patty. And, you know, I'm afraid it might be like settled,
predictable numbers thing, like where we see on the bad seasons of Survivor, where it's just like we got this big alliance, and sometimes it's not really the most likable people that you want to see play the game or the most interesting gameplay. So it just becomes kind of repetitive.
And you know, we only have, I think, 3 more guaranteed vote outs, maybe 4 more guaranteed vote outs, maybe, according to like what we know about the show. So like, maybe it's not hard enough that anybody quits. It's a big enough number that like a big alliance could get to the end and split the money. So I don't know. I think at some point in time, if you think you are going to make it, you want to start getting the strong people out, hoping that the weak people quit. Even though you lose their prize dollars, you still get a bigger part of the end prize or whatever. So,
or you just make sure you got your number, just like how we see on other shows. You have your numbers within the numbers, where you say, "Hey, we're working with this person, but we know at some point we're gonna get rid of them." So that one of us, because that was the only good point that Becky Lee made in her strategy, where she's like, one of these strong guys could take your spot, which is true. But it's so like you just kind of got to use that same argument within your own group of numbers and say like, yeah, one of us can take this spot, but we got the numbers here to where we can get to a certain point. We got a certain amount of time to actually get this person out, where we can just use them in between to help us get up the mountain, you know? But
Yep.
We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's I mean, again, I like the show. I like how it's playing out. There's enough to talk about. I hope we get a little more cutthroat. I hope we get more people playing a game. I hope the show isn't 25 minutes of crossing a bridge. I kind of want it to get a little bit more interesting or varied, I guess. It's not a lot of varied
and I
stuff.
didn't see the challenge for the next episode and like the little next on. They didn't even show it, so they just showed like it being snowed out, which is crazy.
Right. Yeah.
So we did say specifically that Jeff is the one who unfortunately gets voted out 3-2.
Oh yeah, Jeff gets voted out. Yeah, 3-8. Or no, there's 12 people left, so 3-9. Because Pumpkin, Jeff, and Amy vote Dennis. Oh yeah, the voting. I wanted to talk about this. We get a little bit more kind of clarity. It is more conversational, and Manu like here's kind of two names, but we did hear him say like, "Are there any other names?" Like before they settled on those two. So I assume it's just like if you want to like. I could go out there and be like, yeah, fucking let's throw Robert in there too, and then nobody votes for Robert. Like you could throw, but you don't want to just take unnecessary shots. So it's another interesting part of the game.
Specifically, I don't think has that like game mindset to really want to start throwing some names out there to try to shake things up in that moment if they can, even throw a Hail Mary.
I'll be curious if something like that ever happens from someone like Becky Lee or Dennis, where something like gets organized on the spot. But yeah, this more conversational, and then Manu was like, okay, we're gonna vote, and everybody votes for Jeff except for the three we mentioned. They vote for Dennis. Jeff goes home. Dennis clearly has people on his side.
A lot of people. I think it's Dennis and Becky Lee as a two that really kind of solidified like that whole vote out situations, and like I said, them not really strategizing as hard as they were. Like they were playing the game on a whole different level.
Right.
I wanted to say checkers, not chess, or chess, not checkers, but it's so played out as the
same. So next week, more mountain talk. I'm curious to see where it goes.
It looked like Pumpkin said she wanted to target Rob. I guess maybe because she thought she had him for the whole Jeff vote, and he did. He obviously voted Jeff out, so that should be interesting.
It'd be cool to see a storyline like we get a lot of times on reality television, where it's like two people are closely paired together, and the one who seems to be leading that pair gets voted off, and then Pumpkin like starts her own little thing, like because I don't think Pumpkin's any slouch. I think Pumpkin's just been working with Jeff. And now she's like, oh, I don't really have anybody. So she gets. I hope there's like a cool story with her there because I think she's great.
Yeah, like I hope this lights a fire under her to be like, okay, this is how the game's being played. I got to step it up. Like I want to see that from her.
Yeah. Well, let me get all these other. Let me get Patty. Let me get Amy. Let me get all these people. Let me get Rob. Let me try and steal some of these people, or whoever. So, yeah. Ohmar, I think we hit the end of the episode. Any closing notes? Anything you got?
Not really nothing to say. Like I said, just ready to see how this game has been played. There's a lot of potential for strategy. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't really have much. I think there's a lot of potentials here in this show. Let us know what you guys think. You reality. We didn't follow the name of the show on screen, so hopefully more people see it. But all the reality after show people out there, let us know like what you think about this. Who are you loving? Who do you want to watch? Like, what are we missing? I mean, we're new to this. We're figuring it out. So
Yes.
let us know what you want to hear about. And also, if you're on the show, I don't know what your contracts are like, but if you want to talk about it, we'd love to have you. Even set up interviews if it's after the show's over. I'm sure you can't talk about it while it's airing, but we'll have you on for interviews after that. We'd love to have you on and hear about this show. I love it. I'm excited to see what happens. It's right up my alley. So
Same, because I love, when I say I love the challenge and love Survivor, it's just kind of like a good mix of the two, because it's like just the final of the challenge, but like the strategy of Survivor along the way. Right. So I like that.
And I think next week, we haven't talked about this, but I think next week we're going to bring we're going to start a power ranking. So we're ranking who we think the top people are and where our line is of who's going to actually win money. And we can update our power rankings every week. And so we're going to do a power ranking next week. I want to do your power, work ahead, do your power rankings, see how close you are to ours. Maybe we're not seeing anything. Maybe we're totally off. Maybe you're right in line with us and you're like, man, these guys got it. Who knows? Play along. We're trying to figure it out. It's episode 2. It's going to be great once we get to episode 200. And this show is the #1 show on CBS. And we're all stars because we're too high and thought about doing a podcast.
Indeed.
All right. Ohmar, anything you want to point people to?
No, not yet. Like I said, coming around the corner. More like down the street than around the corner, but it's there.
Love it. Always cooking. Hey, we don't got to get too excited about stuff. Things get announced when they need to get announced. As always, I have a new child, so I'm not doing too much out in the comedy world. But if you like stand-up comedy and you're around Cincinnati, I run a comedy show every Saturday at a bar called The Comet. I also work at that bar. If you want to come have a drink with me, I work on Tuesday nights. Come have a drink with me. I'll talk reality shows with you at the bar. It's a lot of fun. Comet Cincinnati, come see me. Come watch the show. Follow me on Instagram. Like and share my reels. I'm putting more comedy videos out because I'm stuck at home. So like my reels, share them to people. All that kind of stuff is the best way to help. And also, above all of that, join the Reality After Show Patreon at realityaftershow.com, I think is what it is. Goes right to the Patreon. Follow it. Listen to the podcast of the shows that you like. I will say, if you're into the challenge and you haven't watched it this season is one of the top seasons of the challenge ever.
It's cooking.
It's so fun. Survivor episode or season 47 is again, I would early call the best new era Survivor season. It's incredible. If you're one of those people that kind of left around 40, 41 and were like, I don't really like it, come back, watch this one, talk about it with us. It's a really great season. And follow all of us on social media. You can find us all on Reality After Show Instagram. So Ohmar Gibson, I've been Wayne Memmott. In the meantime, don't get too high, but we'll be back next week to do it with you.